morning. We're back to do session 5 of our presentation, our trainings, introducing and working our way through this whole 5x5 approach. And as I've said in the past, what we're trying to do is lay line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. We're trying to lay a foundation so that as the leaders rise up, whether they're inside of Relive now or outside of Relive right now, we're all, as best as we can be, on the same page. And that's very important, because as we get on down the road, if we have a lot of different approaches, I think we're going to end up regretting that we didn't take the time up front to get on the same page. So that's really what's in my heart, is to, as I've said, to paint this picture the best I can, the best way I know how, to help people to understand at the very least how Wendy and I have really thought through this thing. And I tell you, I am more dialed into this process as I see it now, obviously, than I was 3 years ago, or then again a year and a half or so ago. As I said, this has been a 3-year process. So today we're going to get into, once again, talking about dynamic duplication, because I'm telling you guys, this understanding is one of the very essential keys to making this whole 5x5, remember, 5 wide, 5 deep, to making that 5x5 approach work. And if we don't really lock onto what dynamic duplication and how key and fundamental it is to this approach is, we're really going to stumble and fumble around, because we're going to start to lapse back into old patterns, into old ways of doing our Relive business. Now, some of those old ways are great, but some of them have not served us because they haven't been dynamic, they haven't been powerful, they haven't been intentional, and they have not been purposeful. So that's why I keep coming back, and I'm going to keep talking over and over and over again about the absolute essentials of dynamic, purposeful duplication. When I finished my last session, basically the last question I asked was, who are they? Who are these guys? And really, I borrowed that question, that term, from one of my very favorite movies when I was probably a junior in high school. The movie Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid came out, and one of the lines, one of the most memorable lines from that movie was as Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid were being chased by a group of Pinkerton detectives, and they had this incredible scout that could track them at night, that could track them through over rocks, hard rocks. He just had a knack. And so as the movie progressed 3, 4, 5 times, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid would look at each other. They watched these guys be able to track them through the most bizarre situation. They say, who are those guys? Now, they really weren't saying what are their names, what do their families look like, where are they from. Basically, what that question was about is, how in the world have these people developed this skill to track us through all these things that nobody else on planet Earth could track us through? Okay, so that's a little bit of a picture of what we're trying to accomplish. And so who are those guys? Who are we talking about? Well, remember, we're dealing with Josh, or Joshua. And at the end of our 5 wide, 5 deep, multiplied out approach, where does Josh end up at? And as I said yesterday, it's a very humbling position. I actually said he'd end up at 5-time Platinum Ambassador. Well, I made that mistake because I pre-wrote my little sheet, and I was so used to writing 5X that I wrote 5X. Or it's actually, he is a 2-time Presidential Platinum Ambassador. That is the end result of the 5x5 as we're approaching it. So that means, as I said the other day, that Josh has 5 first-level presidential ambassadors that he's helped groom, helped train through dynamic duplication, through this approach, to arrive at that point. So that's why we have to ask, who are those guys? That's an important thing we have to ask, because, here's a quote, the key to any successful journey is to start with the desired end result in mind. Keep in mind, we're talking about 5 presidential ambassadors on Joshua's first level. Okay? So, the key, Josh, to any successful journey, the journey we're talking about is building, dynamically duplicating, 5 wide, 5 levels deep, a certain quality of people, okay? The key to any successful journey is to start with the desired end result, which is these 5 presidential ambassadors, in mind. So, let's talk about that. Now, this is just an introductory thing. We're going to, as I flip the next page, on the next video training, we're going to talk about really how this comes together. But now I'm just laying some groundwork. Who are these guys? Well, they're leaders first and foremost. Either they're leaders now or they're going to grow and become leaders, because that's what this whole thing really demands. So what are the qualities and traits of presidential ambassador leaders? They're faithful, they're available, they're teachable. I remember one of the first trainings I heard when I first came into Relive was done by Denise Williams, and she said, we're looking for fat people. And I went, oh my. And she said, I said, that might count me in. But she said, no, that means F, faithful, A, available, T, teachable, fat. That's an acronym. Very important qualities in the people that we're going to go to work. Josh, you have to hear me. These are the qualities that you have to find in the people that you're going to go to work with. Let's look at what else Josh might look for. They have to have a work ethic. I remember Marcella Powell, our first conversation, she said, Max, what I'm looking for are people that are teachable, have a committed work ethic, and have a deep care for other people. So that's the qualities of Marcella Powell. So she was throwing that out, saying, Max, are you and Wendy, are you those people? Are you teachable? Do you have a work ethic? Do you care for other people? Because if you don't, you probably won't last in the business side of this whole Relive adventure. So you really have to get a hold of this, guys. Because remember, we have to start with the desired end result in mind. This is the description of people that we're looking for. Okay, let's look at some other personality traits, characteristics. They have to be giving. They have to have a big heart. They have to be honest. They have to be courageous / bold. Now, most people right now in our society tend to be fairly timid. We live in such a politically correct society now. It's almost nauseating to see how the political correctness Nazis have caused people to be timid because they're so afraid of being politically incorrect. I'm telling you guys, we've got to deal a death blow to that mentality because it does not serve anybody. It makes us weak and ineffectual. That's what it does. Number 9, they have to be determined and persistent. I'm telling you, remember that formula that we used to have on those Saturday slides? That success equals determination plus persistence. So that's something that we really have to, that is essential. Determination and persistence means I'm determined to get to where my goal is, where my vision is, and I am going to be persistent. No matter what comes my way, I will figure out a way to get through it, over it, under it, around it, under it, whatever it takes. I am going to persist in my pursuit of my dreams and my goals and my visions for this endeavor. And the last one is, I just mentioned, visionary. They have to have a vision. Where are they going? What do they want? What is it they're looking for? And there again, that's why another training just a few days away, we're going to talk about tapping into people's dreams, into their goals, into their visions, into their commitments to themselves. So we're going to do all of that, guys. But remember, faithful, available, teachable, work ethic, caring, giving, honest, courageous or bold, determined and persistent, visionary, and someone who is able to state their dreams for the future. So with that, I'm going to sign off for now. We're going to come back here in just a few minutes, And we're going to flip the page and we're going to talk about how this thing actually comes together. What does it look like? What will these people look like? What will they not look like? How will we reach them? How will we not reach them? How will we help to develop them? All those things are on the next page. God bless you guys. Stay tuned.